From the vault of Trump will fast track any and everything, but what actually needs to be fast tracked. Let's get into it. President Trump on Tuesday posthumously awarded America's highest civilian honor to Charlie Kirk, the slain activist who inspired a generation of young conservatives and helped push the nation's politics further to the right. So you're going to award the Presidential Medal of Freedom to someone who believed in removing freedoms from other people. Okay. The ceremony coincided with what would have been Kirk's 32nd birthday. It came just over a month after the Turning Point USA founder was fatally shot while speaking to a crowd at Utah Valley University. In a sign of Kirk's close ties to the administration, he was the first recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom in Trump's second term. The president also spoke at Kirk's funeral in September. You mean Kirkapalooza? Turning Point USA Con? Because they spent about 3 to 5 business minutes talking about him. And they talked about a whole bunch of other stuff. Calling him a great American hero. And martyr for freedom. I don't think definitions are being understood here. While Vice President J.D. Vance accompanied his body home to Arizona on Air Force Two along with Kirk's widow, Erica. J.D. Vance seems to be able to vacation, spend a whole lot of time at home in Cincinnati, Ohio, and use Air Force Two for personal reasons, a lot. It's an interesting scope of office that he has there. We're here to honor and remember a fearless warrior for liberty, beloved leader who galvanized the next generation like nobody I've ever seen before, an American patriot of the deepest conviction, the finest quality, and the highest caliber, Trump said Tuesday afternoon. Trump also thinks that he himself is a stable genius, so take that as you wish. Of Kirk's killing, Trump said, he was assassinated in the prime of his life for boldly speaking the truth, for living his faith, and relentless fighting for a better and stronger America. Prime of his life? Okay. Gummylicious, I guess you could say that. Speaking the truth, he spoke no truth. But Trump does have a social media platform called Truth Social, and there's no truth there. Living his faith, I don't think lying coincides with his faith. And relentless fighting for a better and stronger America. He fought for a white, male-dominated United States. The Presidential Medal of Freedom was established by President Kennedy in 1963 for individuals making exceptional contributions to the country's security or national interest or to world peace, or being responsible for significant cultural endeavors or public and private initiatives. So galvanizing people to hate is the new barometer. Checks out for this administration. Tuesday's event followed Trump returning to the U.S. in the pre-dawn hours after a whirlwind trip to Israel and Egypt to celebrate a ceasefire agreement in Israel's war with Hamas in Gaza that his administration was instrumental in brokering. I can think of some administrations that were instrumental in that, but not his. And is a ceasefire what's really needed? Or just a complete end to the genocide over there and a removal of the colonizing occupation? Just asking. Trump joked that he almost requested to move the ceremony because of the trip. Oh, he wasn't joking. He wasn't joking. In his mind, he is the main character of everything. Okay? This is his Truman Show. And he thinks that all the rest of us are just supporting cast. I raced back halfway around the globe, Trump said. I was going to call Erica and say, hey, Erica, Could you maybe move it to Friday? And I didn't have the courage to call. But you know why I didn't call? Because I heard today was Charlie's birthday. Always finding a way to make everything about himself. It's a talent for him. The one and only talent he has, but it's a talent. Argentine President Javier Milei, who had been visiting with the president at the White House earlier, stayed to attend the ceremony. I guess so. You might as well. You just got a big chunk of our taxpayer dollars. Trump has awarded a string of presidential medals going back to his first term, including to golf legend Tiger Woods, ex-football coach Lou Holtz, and conservative economist Arthur Laffer, as well as New York Yankees Hall of Fame pitcher Mariano Rivera and conservative radio host Rush Limbaugh, the latter of which came during the 2020 State of the Union. He awarded posthumous medals to Babe Ruth and Elvis. All right. This term, Trump has also announced his intentions to award the medals to Rudolph W.G. Giuliani, the former New York City mayor and close former advisor, and to Ben Carson, who served as Trump's first-term Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Kirk founded Turning Point USA in 2012 with a big chunk of change from somebody else. Dropped out of college to debate people on college campuses. Trump has praised Kirk as one of the key reasons he was reelected. Yeah, because anybody who's willing to hardcore indoctrinate. But Kirk's politics were also often divisive. Not often, always. Always. He sharply criticized gay and transgender rights while inflaming racial tensions. Kirk also repeated Trump's false claims that former Vice President Kamala Harris was responsible for policies that encourage immigrants to come to the U.S. illegally and called George Floyd, a black man whose killing by a Minneapolis police officer sparked a national debate over racial injustice, a scumbag. Trump wrote in a social media post hours before the event that he was moving the ceremony from the White House's East Room to the Rose Garden. That is not a Rose Garden anymore. That is a pavilion of pitifulness. To accommodate the crowd he said would be so big and enthusiastic. How long are we going to drag this out to avoid those files being released? Like, you can't shut down the government forever. And you can't keep telling Mike Johnson to keep the House on recess forever. And y'all don't even care about Charlie Kirk that much. But as always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section.